What's up, guys? Welcome to an all-new episode of the NerdUp Podcast. I'm joined by Ryan Doobie, also known as Ryan Zeverfett. You can find him at Zever Comics or go to his website, which is zevercomics.com, and you'll find his newest project, which is an independent comic called The Nephilim. Ryan, you're very excited about The Nephilim. I think we all are. How is that campaign going?
I actually was successfully able to end it today.
So it's over. No more Nephilim.
I'm already working on the second one, but the first campaign on Indiegogo, I was approved to complete it. So I'm very happy about that.
Awesome. So, guys, we have some big news that we're going to go over today. We have Dune 3. We have Spider-Man, the new trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day. We have Maul Shadow Lord. Yeah, it's the new game on the PS5. Actually, it's the name of the show. I think it's a ridiculous name. It sounds like a video game. It sounds like a video game. Maul Shadow Lord. You know what I mean? That's like, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to go pick up Maul Shadow Lord. It just came out. I'm going to play it on my PS5. Actually, no.
DLC?
I forgot. Kids don't pick up games these days. They download them.
They download them.
They download them.
Content.
Yeah. Have a little sip of my coffee there.
And
of course, we are going to talk about the 5th year anniversary of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, just to let you know, as you can tell from me and Ryan, we're not big Zack Snyder fans, nor are we fans of Zack Snyder's Justice League. We're just wearing the shirts just because, well, why not? No, but we're going to talk a little bit about what the movie and the whole campaign did for us, meant for us, and how it impacted our lives and what we think about it as well. So that'll be a little bit later in the show. But Ryan,
yes,
5th year, pretty insane. That was 5 years ago when it finally came out.
That's crazy because a lot has happened. A lot happened before that, and a lot has happened since. Just the landscape, the people you talk to, the people you associate with, and all that. It's very interesting. Just sort of how people grow and move. But yeah, I mean, 5 years ago, that's a pretty long time.
Yeah, and we saw really like an evolution, and it's funny because when you look at the content creators that were involved with the the release of Snyder Cut campaign and how it all worked out. Mm-hmm. We really saw like an evolution of even like the backers and content creators that were attached to it, and how like after the release that kind of changed as well, and then you had others coming in that were like, hey, and you had people that were really just spreading false information, all for either profit or just to create more buzz for themselves. It was pretty crazy, but some of that stuff actually almost came to fruition. I mean, we saw that. Netflix nearly bought Warner Brothers. And so like that whole idea of like sell the Snyderverse to Netflix, like it almost somewhat became a reality until Paramount jumped in and President Trump, and they said, hey, you're going to sell this to Paramount instead. And now they're owned by Paramount, mm-hmm. which means that they're owned by the same companies. Oh, so the companies that own like Fox News and all that now own CNN. So now that was one of the things that they were tripping out about.
They completely control the narrative.
They completely control the narrative. Yes.
You feel like you lean. So
it doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter. Well, it never did, but now it never did even more. So
and that's why we talk about what we talk about, and people watch this show because they're like, you know what? I don't want to deal with the reality of life. I just want to tune in and have fun.
Back and just veg. Most people are at work and they just want to hear somebody talking about shit they love. So let's go.
So we're streaming on 3 channels. We're on Zever Comics, we're on the Nicotina Network, and I'm also streaming it on the 4 Nerds channel, the original 4 Nerds channel. So 3 different outlets. We'll see what we can pull in, if any.
We're fishing for viewers.
So definitely check out those channels. Make sure you subscribe to Zever Comics and to the Nicotina Network for weekly episodes of the NerdUp Podcast. So without further ado, let's jump into our first topic, which is Spider-Man Brand New Day. Here is a trailer. Let's take a look at it right now. There's no sound. There we go. Sound has been restored. Here we go.
I can't believe our first hit MIT. MJ, come on. Pretend like you're not the happiest you've ever been in your entire life.
How is his butt sticky?
I can't.
Are those two even dating, or are they just friends? It sounds like they're just friends.
No,
Okay.
later in the trailer you'll see she's flirting.
Because at the end of No Way Home, weren't they like kissing each other or some shit?
They were just with each other.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I think they were just hanging out. They're still friends somehow.
Okay.
But yeah.
Do it.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna go whoop someone's ass.
It's like he gave up.
That's a cool shot.
I like this shot.
Hi, my name is Peter Parker. You don't remember me, but we used to know each other. Something bad was going to happen, and the only way to stop it was to make everyone forget about me. Because I'm not just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man.
The hell, Frank? You just hit me with a van!
Quit your whimpering. Suit yourself. Mother.
Go home! And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. What?
The boyfriend is actually the actor who plays Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka. So
Okay.
now he's going against a Jedi.
Now
He's
we
gonna
have
lose.
the Star Wars connection.
Yeah, he's gonna lose.
Is happening to me? Excuse me, Dr. Banner. I need your help.
What did you say your name was? If DNA is mutating, it would be enormously dangerous.
Spiders have 3 life cycles. When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats.
We are faced with a danger that we can't control. One we can't even see. Stay out of my way.
You're losing it, kid.
And for those spiders who make it through, it amounts to a kind of rebirth.
Nice flowers.
Oh, they're a housewarming gift.
I'm MJ.
I'm just a neighbor from across the hall.
Friendly neighbor.
So what'd you think of Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Yeah, no, it looks fun. It does look like there's a lot crammed into it. It looks like it's just gonna be very busy. Hopefully it is not a Rise of Skywalker situation where they're just like jumping from this to that to this to that, just kind of keep the audience going. That last part, they always try to do this with these trailers. I'm getting tired of it. Is that they try to put in there something that they feel is funny, but it just didn't hit for me. I was like, that's a friendly neighborhood. I was like, oh, and then he coughs up whatever he was drinking just because for some reason, I don't know. I don't know, that last little bit with, it just didn't.
Well, they always do that kind of
really
shit in these Marvel movies. They always have a joke at the end to make you go,
I'm going to see that.
lighthearted.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it looks fun. It looks interesting. The CG looks pretty good. The first shot where he's hanging upside down, is his butt glued to the to the steel structure? Like, is that how? I thought it was only his fingers and his toes that could like really hold on to things, or his feet rather.
I'm not sure.
But his ass.
I wasn't really paying attention to it.
I was. It's
I could
very
tell.
much something else. So, what did you think of the trailer overall?
I thought it was cool. I like how again but they had to fit a lot in here because frankly, they've already fucked up the multiverse saga so bad that like it's been forever since you've seen Spider-Man in the MCU, and so they had to put a lot in there to remind you of like, hey, remember, nobody remembers him. He doesn't. He's still in love with MJ, but she doesn't know him. But her and what's his face, the chubby guy. Yeah, Hobgoblin are still really good friends, so he feels left out.
Yeah.
So they had to like remind everybody about what's going on in Spider-Man's life, because you haven't really seen him at all. You haven't seen him in any of these multiverse projects other than, No Way Home. But the whole multiverse saga was too dependent on Disney Plus, and that's where they really fucked up. Is they tried to go away from the theater, obviously because COVID was hitting, so they thought, okay, let's just put the rest of the stuff on streaming, and we'll put a few movies out there. But a lot of these movies were set up to build towards the Kang Dynasty, which they now have scrapped. Shang-Chi and his 7 rings. Those are supposed to be things that, the Kangs were trying to acquire. So that's why he was important to that whole saga. Now you're going Doctor Doom, maybe not anymore. I don't know. It depends on how they want to do it. But, other than that, like the trailer, I mean, it showed one of the villains, which is Scorpion, which I think he's going to be kind of a lame villain because he's going to be like I can fight action sequence, and then he loses or he gets
He's just going to get grabbed by the, his butt and swung around, and I think he's going to get taken down.
It's either that or like whoever the main villain is will just end up recruiting him after he loses the first time. You see the Punisher, Frank Castle, and, he knows him because he says, "Frank, what are you doing?" So he definitely knows the Punisher. So there'll be a little bit of a relationship right there. I thought, Daredevil would be in this, but it looks like he's not because they're too busy doing his really boring Daredevil Born Again series, which is like, oh my God, so bad. So boring too. But I like seeing Frank Castle. And again, you see him, hanging from webs and he's falling and he doesn't have his web shooters on, but then you hear the sound of like a web shooter or something like whoosh, and grabs him, So this could be the introduction to the symbiote where, he gets the Venom costume. Who knows?
Well, I think he's the rumor is and why he was in sort of like the webbed room or whatever is that, he's sort of developing organic web slinging.
See, that's the other thing too. And I'm kind of like, why are we doing that for? I liked him with the web shooters, but I mean, I don't know. I always figured like that was Tobey Maguire's kick, the organic. But now it looks like he could be doing it organically himself. So it's kind of like, okay, so
it is in this world, it kind of is weird. Like you develop web shooters, but then somehow your arms develop web shooters. Like which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it would probably be more like Web Weaver from The Boys, where it comes out of his butt.
That would be more accurate, and that might be why he at the first shot he was hanging from his ass.
I was hanging from his butt. Mm-hmm. You remember that in The Boys? He was like a huge pervert. It's so terrible. But overall, though, I'm excited for the movie. I want to see it. I like Spider-Man. I actually like Tom Holland Spider-Man.
I didn't like Tom Holland Spider-Man until No Way Home. Like all of his appearances, it was like, okay, whatever. He was just a whiny kid, right? This whiny, like, oh, Tony Stark, always chasing after him. But it wasn't until he lost Marissa Tomei that I was like, oh, you know what? It's pretty good.
You know what? Marissa Tomei was like the first Aunt May that I was like, hey, she's hot. Why'd you kill her for, idiots? But they did it anyway. And then I'm wondering, too, I mean, maybe the chat can answer this or later on the chat. Who the hell is this lady? When I first saw her, I was like, oh, there's Aunt May. Oh, never mind. She's a kind of machine, but she doesn't look like she belongs in there. I was like, what?
This sequence here reminded me of that one Denzel Washington movie where I think it was called Fallen. Yeah. And where he would like move from person to person. And it was just sort of like, it was an entity that lived inside of, whatever. And it would just like transfer to different people.
And that's probably what they did with that old lady. He transferred into her.
Yeah.
And
it's probably that one character where you see him from the back and he's wearing like a hood in front of like maybe screens.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. Yeah. That person is probably the one that's like, doing that, some sort of mastermind. They have some sort of makeshift bat cave kind of thing going on where they're monitoring whatever. And they want to expose who Spider-Man is.
It's like,
no one knows who he is and all this other crap. So,
and then it was, it's kind of like that villain from Incredibles 2. What was his name?
Oh, the Spot? No, Incredibles 2. Mole?
No, the main villain. Remember, he used to control all the TV and hypnotize you. I forgot his name.
No, that was the sister. That was a girl.
I know, but I'm saying the villain in general. Like, he had the villain had a name. I forgot what it was called though.
Ms. Miranda. I don't know. Ms. Miralax.
And then here's the that's a good shot right there. I don't know who that is.
That's Rogue. Oh, go back. Is it? It looks like there's an X on her sleeve.
No, it's not an X.
Is it an X? If it's an X,
this is the classic Spider-Man image.
The classic pose, yeah. Well, there's another one where that the other character where he's on sort of a ship, and that's from another Spider-Man cover. So they tried to cram that in there. It's like, okay, I mean, it's cool, but it's like you're putting so much into this film, like.
Well, I think finally this is more of like an establishing movie, which they kind of did in the previous one, but you had the other Spider-Man that were in it. I think this one, they probably elected not to have Daredevil, have a little bit of the Punisher, but mainly just have it about Spider-Man and whoever the fuck the villain is who can jump into different people's bodies and all that shit. But there was I can't find it right now. I should have saved it. There was a post where somebody was like, "Oh, I don't like all these muted colors. It should look like this," and they brightened it up, and I was like, "Holy crap, that looks terrible."
I mean, look. There are people that when you mute the colors, they want them saturated. When they're saturated, they want them muted. It's you can't win.
You can't win.
So just put the damn movie out, man. If you want a saturated version, go to the settings on your remote control for your TV and just up the gamma.
Up the gamma. Up your gamma.
Up your gamma.
But another thing, too, is that, I highly doubt it. But, I mean, when he's falling, he gets caught. It could be like Miles Morales. I highly doubt it. It's probably him developing organic web shooters. And I think that's kind of lame.
It just depends on if it makes any sense in the narrative, in the story, whatever. I don't know. I just don't know this.
Well, there's also talk about there being like a Spider Girl or Spider Woman, whatever, in this movie, so that it could be too. Yeah, I've heard rumors of that, so that's also what it could be. Oh, here it is, right here.
Oh, good.
This is the one I wanted to show you. Let me find it real quick. So they're like, "Oh yeah, so this is how it looked, and this is what it should look like." Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Where am I? Oh, there I am. I have 3 screens. Sorry. I was like, Jesus.
Oh, good Lord. Why would you change the time of day? Like, bro, that could be overcast.
They're like, it's too gloomy. That's better.
It could be the time of year. No.
Here's that shot from the movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
Who's that down there?
I don't know. I don't know who that is. Boomerang. Oh, wait, no, that's
Boomerang.
DC.
Yeah.
So overall, Spider-Man Brand New Day, I think it looks like a cool movie. I'm definitely going to check it out. This one I'll actually see in the theater. But I do think that this will likely lead into Avengers Doomsday. There'll be something at the end that will kind of connect it to it. Because I would imagine Spider-Man's going to be in Avengers Doomsday, although I heard rumors that he's not, but he's one of your marquee characters. You got to have him in there. And like the rumors...
draw.
Well, and the rumors that that Wolverine, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and Tobey Maguire die in the very beginning of Doomsday, I was like, why would you do that? That'd be the dumbest thing. I'd watch the movie and be like, okay, this movie's stupid.
No, you can't kill off
like 2 characters I really wanted to see.
10 more movies in him.
Yeah, it's like, come on, but you can't kill him off at the beginning of the movie. It's like, no way.
Well, it's sort of that thing where it's like, you kind of get these characters out of the way quickly, kind of like Transformers the movie. They killed off all the Autobots in the very beginning sequence.
Well, yeah, because they ran out of footage from the original series, so they were like, all right, we're going to go to the next one, and we're just going to kill everybody off. Yeah, I gave kids, like, they were traumatizing children in the process. Like, Jesus, what are you guys doing? All right, let's go into some rapid-fire news, and let's move on to our first bit of news here on the NerdUp podcast. Grant Morrison, you hear about this? Okay, so Damien Lindelof, he worked on Lost, he worked on Prometheus, he's a writer. He's one of the writers on the new show Lanterns, which you're very, very excited about. He said him and the other co-writer were talking on a podcast or on an interview, and they said, oh yeah, we dropped the name, we changed it just to Lanterns because we thought the name Green was stupid. It just
Is that
thought
what they said?
Yeah. And so he's we just thought it'd be stupid, and so that's why we decided let's just call it Lanterns. Okay, so Grant Morrison, big comic book writer, he chimed in on that. He did not like that comment. So Grant Morrison responds to Damien Lindelof's calling the Green and Green Lantern stupid. He writes, why does a writer attach himself to this kind of narrative if he thinks it's fundamentally stupid? The only people who give a fuck about the Lanterns TV series are Green Lantern fans.
Yeah.
Why alienate them at the start? That feels more like stupid. Yeah. So he was right. He's like, what the fuck would you even say that for? You know what I mean? Like, come on, dude.
It's like, why would you hire somebody who automatically doesn't like, that particular aspect of the property that you're working on? It's kind of like calling it Superman. I don't want to call it Superman. I want to call him the Man of Tomorrow. Like what? Like, come on, bro.
Why this thing Superman so stupid?
Like Batman. Okay. Why are we gonna call him? We're gonna call him the Dark Knight only. They called him Batman Begins to begin with, but what I'm saying is, like, look, these characters are something that you've developed, right? Like, you've got Hawkman, call him Hawkman. You've got, the Justice Society of America. Don't change the name of whatever it is. Even the Justice League, whatever. Don't change the names. Don't feel like, oh man, this is just too childish, too kiddie, too immature or whatever. It's like, man, look, that's what people bought into, and that's what people like. So just leave it.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, wasn't there any PR done before they went on these fucking interviews? Like, hey, don't say that. We want to say this, and he's just like letting loose. Like, I think it's dumb. So let's hear what he had to say.
He's never been interviewed before.
No, he has, but let's hear what he has to say. This is it right here.
So, you just announced a Green Lantern show. It's called Lanterns because we all agreed that the green was stupid. So,
right.
So now it's just lanterns. So,
Green Lantern, the lantern.
So you can make anything you can imagine. That if you have this magical ring,
right?
Yes, and the fights are still close.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. What'd you think about what Damien Lindelof just said?
I mean, it just seems like he's not even excited about his project. And if that's the case, then it's probably not going to be worth watching. Like, if you work on something, you want to be excited for it. Anytime somebody wants to give you an opportunity to talk about it, be like, it's kind of like, if same with my project with the Nephilim, like, it's like, well, you know what, I just, we called it the Nephilim because, just it's biblical and who cares and, whatever. I don't know. You want to buy it? Like, what? Like, no, dude. I have so much lore behind it. There's a reason why it's called the Nephilim. Nephilim is actually plural. There's a reason for that as well. We're gonna, jump forward and backward in time as the story progresses. There's a lot of reasons to want to understand why I called it that. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I am very excited about my project. This guy is not excited about the project that he worked on.
No, he's not.
Number one, Lanterns is the first fucking thing that they announced for HBO Max back in the day. That was the very first project to kind of like get people excited about DC going to their platform, right? Or having a live action Green Lantern show on their platform. And, so it's just been sort of stuck in limbo for years, and it's finally going to come out. And I'm sure that it is because of the changing of hands, changing of guard, gun taking over, whatever, that the Lantern show has changed, this way, that way, whatever. It's just like, James Gunn called his Superman Legacy. And because there wasn't a Superman movie, there's Superman in name only, he was like, well, I don't really need to have the legacy. I'll just change it to Superman. And that's fine. That was cool. But this thing here, changing it from Green Lanterns to Lanterns, the only reason why that makes any sense, to me, is that if you're going to involve the rest of the spectrum, which you should. But if you want to call it, but call it Green Lantern. Those things exist under that property, and
right.
And like
I mean, I'm fine with the name Lanterns, but when you come out and say, "Oh, we just took out the green because you thought it was stupid," it was like, what?
Right,
that's like a Leslie Headland comment, where she thinks, "Isn't that funny?" You're like, "No, dude. Now you're making fun of the lore." Yeah, basically. So Lindelof tripped out, and he received a lot of backlash for what he said, and he issued an apology to Grant Morrison and saying he was honored to work on the project. In fact, he dropped this huge fucking post on Instagram, which I'm like, are you fucking serious? You want me to read this whole goddamn thing? This is not a fucking screenplay. He says, I have upset Grant Morrison, which means I have now pissed off most of the brilliant British/Scottish comics writers that I grew up idolizing. Again, why would you even say that? To quote the bard Otis Redding, this is nobody's fault but mine. No shit. I made a dumb joke on a comedy podcast. I'm not going to bob and weave about the context. The joke was dumb. The fandom is not. I owe them an explanation and a genuine reflection of my actual feelings. The very first time I appeared at a Comic-Con panel was for the Lost pilot, the show Lost. Back in the summer of 2004. I wore my favorite t-shirt as I had long grown out my favorite underoos, those being the uniform of Hal Jordan, Green Lantern of Sector 2814. Yeah, that's convenient.
Oh yeah, let's sit there and fucking name drop.
Yeah. For a quiet, uncoordinated kid, there was something cooler than a hero. There was nothing cooler than a hero whose superpower was his imagination. And green is not stupid. It's my lifelong favorite color, and I have a questionnaire that I filled out in the 3rd grade to prove it. Green is fucking awesome. Then why did you say that then?
He said it to be edgy. He said it to like, guys, I'm not working. We took the green off because let's face it.
It's stupid. And he's like, oh shit. Oh fuck. They got really mad.
And even the interviewer was like, the the lantern, it's just like he didn't really know where to go with that. It's like, bro, you're sitting there like, saying, Batman's a dumb name because it's Batman. It's like,
yeah, I changed his name from Bruce to
let's change him just to the Dark Knight. Just quit calling him Batman. That's just so lame.
It's so lame. More importantly, I would like to be portrayed to everyone I worked for and alongside to say anything other than I was absolutely honored to be a part of the team that manifested an incredible construct that is Lanterns, because it was. I was sloppy and careless with my words. Ironic considering I care so much about Hal, John, and the entire Corps. I can and will do better to be worthy of the oath. Fuck you.
Oh,
Until
God.
then, I'll let the show speak for itself, and I can't wait for you to all hear what it has to say. Here's my response to your apology.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
We don't care.
We don't care.
We don't care. Shut the fuck up. You already said what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
You thought you were too cool for fucking superheroes. And your ego probably felt like, oh, we just dropped it because the green was stupid. It was like,
and the only reason why
what the fuck are you doing?
He's retracting his comments. You know how much it costs to make a retraction? Is the only reason why he's actually making apologies because Grant Morrison came out and
exactly. And you know what? I applaud Grant Morrison for coming out and saying, dude, what the fuck? Because Grant Morrison had been working closely with James Gunn on this new DC universe, and for him to come out and fucking say that shit on a comedy podcast, like, why didn't you say the shit you just said on your fucking post when they said so I just called Lanterns, right? Right. We called it Lanterns. Obviously it's about the Green Lantern. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. I've been a huge fan ever since, like if you go back to my first Comic-Con, which is back in 2004, I wore my Green Lantern shirt. I grew up watching, reading Green Lantern, so many better ways to say that.
Right,
Instead, you were like, the green is stupid. It was just dumb. It's dumb.
Well, that and also, I mean, he's like, yeah, well, you can make a construct if you have like a magical ring. I'm like, the only one that had magic in their ring or for their ring was Alan Scott, which has nothing to do with these lanterns here, which is powered by something completely different in making constructs. So,
in
like,
fact,
you're kind of showing your hand.
Wasn't it the original Lantern series that was announced? Wasn't it about Alan Scott? And everybody was like,
Scott was cast.
Yeah, it was like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, he was cast, and I think Jon Stewart was cast, and a couple other characters were cast, but of course, they were changed, replaced. Who knows what exactly has happened? It's kind of like this Lantern show, Green Lantern show, kind of reminds me a little bit of the Flash movie with Ezra Miller, in that it changed hands so many times, so that changed and modified the story so many times, so that at the end of the day, when you finally got the Flash movie, it had so many different ideas in there that it kind of picked and chose from, that it came out to be a completely incoherent film.
Yeah, it's look. I still have faith it's going to be a good show. So far, a lot of things that they presented I haven't been too impressed with. But then again, that can all change if it has a good story and good writing and good acting. Which what's his name? The actor playing Green Lantern, I forgot his name. Something Chandler.
Hal Jordan.
Hal Jordan. I think he's a good actor. I think he'll do a good job. The guy playing Jon Stewart, I think will do a good job. So it just depends on what the story's all about.
Tell everybody like, hey, look, the guy playing, Jon Stewart, he's going to be in Man of Tomorrow too. So just, everybody kind of like, don't lose your shit. And they are releasing this Lantern show after the San Diego Comic-Con. So I think it's releasing in August. So that'll be probably the next time that they release something, and they're going to try to make something a little bit more impressive for people. It's this sort of like, what they released now. And I posted this on X. It was like, it reminds me of the Sonic the Hedgehog when they released the first, rendition of it, and everybody was appalled. And they were like, this looks ugly. This is horrible. And then they came back and showed you what you've seen in the theater and, what they're using, as the model now currently and going forward. And it's just sort of like, oh, wow, let's put this out and make it look stupid so that the fans get upset. And then finally, when we come out in July, we'll totally redeem ourselves and everyone will love us.
Well, you hope they'll redeem themselves, but we don't know until we see the actual show.
Plan.
And like, I don't know, I've heard people say like, oh, well, they James Gunn told us that it was going to be inspired by True Detective, and then people see it, they're wondering, what do you mean there's no green? What's going on? It's like, you could say that it's based off of True Detective, but this is like on the nose. It's like it's too much like True Detective. It just is based on the trailer. Now, will it be good? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. But, when people think of Green Lantern, they have a different expectation of it. So, to fault fans for reacting the way that you don't believe they should act, well, I just think every fandom's going to act the way they're going to act. In sports, if they don't like a player that got signed or traded for, they're going to react and fucking talk shit.
Yeah.
That's just how things go. I don't get
people are just too sensitive.
They're too sensitive. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But so there's some news about Green Lanterns. Let's go to our next topic. So it looks like Bob Iger will be stepping down from Disney tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
Just going to replace him.
Now
they're going to replace him with just another worm who's just going to be in there like, I just don't care. I don't care. I'm going to Disneyland in 2 weeks, though. I'm going to Disneyland in 2 weeks, though, so I'm really excited about that. But do I care about Bob Iger not being in charge? I could give two shits. And what has he done since he came back in charge? What has he done to improve things?
He's done nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing I can point to tell you, hey, no, that he's responsible for this or that or whatever. So
yeah, I just don't know.
He let the Clydesdale thing happen.
He did.
Clydesdale Mando Super Bowl spot. So that thank you, Bob.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we have that. He's leaving. That's great. Let's go on to another douchebag who has some changes happening in their lives. Oh, that's Bob Iger. David Zaslav. Okay, you remember Zaslav when they were like, he's going to restore the Snyderverse? Restore, just not announced.
He's number 4, the fourth person that would restore it.
Yeah, he was the he was the guy who's like, if he looks at the brass tacks, at the numbers, he's a numbers guy. He's going to bring back the Snyderverse. Did that happen? Fuck no, it didn't happen. Instead, he hired James Gunn and Peter Safran, and now they're doing their thing. And they're making lanterns. But this guy, why anyone put any faith in this fucking guy to restore the Snyderverse is out of their fucking mind. One, and look, we are Snyderverse fans, but from a guy who's trying to make money, you'd think he's going to be like, hey, let's get Zack Snyder back in here. Let's get all these actors that are now super expensive. Let's get all of them back in here. Now, I know they've all aged, but let's get them all under contract. They're not going to do that. They're going to bring in James Gunn. James Gunn say, hey, I'm just going to reboot the whole thing. Okay, good idea. And we'll start with younger, cheaper actors. And that's what these guys all want. They all want young, cheap, when you look at sports teams, what do they want to do? They want to get younger and they want to get cheaper. So in movie industry, it's the same thing. We got to get younger and we got to get cheaper. Okay, I don't want to bring in Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck and pay them gobs and gobs of money because you know what? That's going to be too expensive.
Yeah.
You know, so, and that's exactly what this douchebag did. Now, this little news bit from Discussing Film writes, David Zaslav will receive $887 million as compensation for the Paramount Warner Brothers merger. Meanwhile, thousands of people are expected to lose their jobs and layoffs after the merger closes. So he'll make $887 million. I think he's doing just fine. Ryan, let me ask you.
Yeah.
When they talk about all these people losing their jobs, people keep saying, well, James Gunn and Peter Safran, they're out. Do you think that's true? Do you think that they'll fire James Gunn and Peter Safran?
I think in the merger that they have to honor the contracts that they already have signed. Once those contracts have expired, then they're up for renewal. And I believe that James and Safran, or James Gunn and Peter Safran have they signed an 8-year contract. And that started the year after Black Adam came out, which was a couple years ago. So they only have like 4 or 5 years left. And you know, they can either, you know, turn a profit or not turn a profit. And so I think what, you know, the same thing with like this Man of Tomorrow thing that James Gunn, you know, has greenlit and gone forward. You know, it's funny that, like, you know, James Gunn is, you know, on record saying, you know, hey, you know, we're not going to push a project forward until it has like a script that's dynamite, you know, an awesome script, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, wait a minute, you fast tracked a Man of Tomorrow. Where'd that script come from? You know, and how is that better than any other thing that anybody else has working on? I think you just did it because it was cheaper. You already had the cast and you wanted to get something else out there that had your name and your stamp, and you wanted to, you know, progress your world in the Superman world, even though that movie did not turn a lot of heads, did not turn a good profit, was not, you know, it didn't warrant something fast tracked.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
And that's the bottom line. You know, it just, I don't know. It just, look, I mean, James Gunn's DCU, it still has some time left to figure out what it's going to do. But to me, I don't know. It hasn't gotten off to a very good start for me.
The biggest issue that it's had is you said it earlier, was that, you know, James was going to reboot, but he didn't. What he did was he held on, he cherry picked. And because you cherry pick, man, nobody has that. They don't have that confidence level from the fandom in that, like, oh, I get what you're doing, I'm on board. They don't have that. You know, it's like, it's even with this Lantern show, it's like, what are you guys doing? There's no excitement for it because they don't know. Everybody's reserved because you don't know what to expect. It's the same thing with Star Wars, you know, and the new properties that are coming out post, you know, Kathleen Kennedy. The properties that are coming out, Grogu Mandalorian, Maul, you know, Andor season, whatever, all these other things, you know, were being made with her, you know, at the helm. So everybody's like, oh yeah, you know, as soon as she's out, now we can grade these projects. And I'm like, no, dude, seriously, she was still there. These projects are still what she would have had. They may make minor changes or whatever, or amendments or differences to what was already in production, but for the most part, this is all still Kathleen Kennedy stuff coming out. Same thing with you know, what we saw with The Flash and Aquaman 2 rather, is that, you know, you had this new, you know, regime, you know, the James Gunn regime coming in, and you had the old, what were they, not Hadley, what were those
Hadley's Hope.
I forget the name.
Hamada.
No. No, in association with Hamada, but also those people that were working with The Rock. I forget
The Rock's people, whatever. Yeah,
Delaney or whoever, and well, you had, you know, these other people that just, you know, the projects were already in play. So when they were coming out, people were like, "Oh, this isn't great," and James Gunn was like, you know, kind of come out, "Well, yeah, you know, it's really great. We love these projects, blah blah blah." Same thing, you know, and they would release and they'd flop, and then you know, and then he'd come out with the Suicide Squad, and that released, and that didn't do too well, and then, you know, he released his you know, Creature Commandos, and that came out, and that didn't really do too well, and then the Superman movie came out, which was supposed to be like the big turning point for the whole thing. You know, everybody's supposed to jump on board for the, you know, James Gunn's Superman our DC universe and all that with the new logo and everything, and that came out and that didn't really do too well. And it's like everything that he's releasing is like it's got some cool aspects to it, but I mean overall it's just not that good.
Well, and I think too what it is that like the superhero craze to me, I mean, is it still a viable, profitable genre? Absolutely. But the craze over it has kind of calmed down. You know,
I think that it would go. I think the craze would come back if people knew what they were going to get.
Well, but at the same time, it's like if James Gunn's Superman came out back when Marvel was doing the Avengers, different story. Everyone's hyped about superhero movies. Everyone loves superhero movies, and that's all they want to go see. Now people are more selective about what movies they're going to go see. You know, when you got movies like Kraven the Hunter and Spider-Woman coming out.
Yes,
they've been burned. So they look at Superman, they go, I don't know. Maybe I won't go see that. Maybe I'll wait till it comes out on streaming. And, but when it comes to, like, let's say Avengers Doomsday, they're going to go out and see it in droves because they
had the confidence from
the confidence. Thank you. They know, hey, it's an Avengers movie. It's going to kick ass. So far, none of them have really sucked. They've all been good movies. Even if, like Endgame, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but, like, there are aspects of it that I fucking love. Like the last battle, badass. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, this is cool. But so again, no one's sold on DC attacking. I shouldn't use the word attacking, but like doing it on different fronts, on streaming, on in the movie theaters, all that stuff. To me, it causes too many instances where fans are going to miss certain projects. Like, oh, did you see Lanterns? Like, that was the very start of the big story behind DC on this new saga. No, I didn't see it. I don't have HBO Max. Or, no, I didn't see it. I didn't even know it came out. Yeah. I didn't. Was it a movie? No, it was a series on HBO Max. Oh, fuck. I didn't even know that. So, to me, using different mediums, it creates it creates an opportunity for you to miss a lot of shit. With DC, if Lanterns really is the first clue into what the bigger storyline is for James Gunn's DCU, then some fans are going to miss it. They're going to have to go online and watch videos and figure out what the fuck everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Now, shows like Creature Commandos doesn't really fucking matter. There's nothing that happened in there that's going to really affect anything. Peacemaker, yes and no. I mean, they brought back the characters from Superman, Lex's people, but none of it really... Like they can explain the outcome of that in like 2 seconds in a movie. It's like, oh yeah, we have this because Rick Flag Sr. did this. Oh, okay. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. So again, still in the early stages, but so far I just haven't really been that impressed with James Gunn's DCU. Some aspects I like, a lot of aspects I don't like so far. But let's move on to our next topic. I'm sick of looking at David Zaslav. Oh, here we go. Robert Pattinson says The Batman Part 2 has an extraordinary script. I mean, what's he going to say? The Batman Part 2 fucking
I'm not
sucks,
really impressed
dude.
with it.
Yeah,
but
it's
we
garbage
are moving
writing.
forward.
Yeah, it's a terrible villain.
Yeah. Wow, wonderful PR. Actually, I mean, but this is better than the other guy for Lanterns.
Exactly. Damien Lindelof. Take some notes. He says, I think it's going to be really, really special movie and very, very different. It's taking some big swings. Big swings.
Hello, no. Baseball bat.
I know. We never know what that means. They're like, yeah, so in this movie, Mr. Freeze will be a girl.
It would be a girl.
It'll be his wife. And then, what's his name?
And
Victor
we call
Freeze.
him Mistress Freeze.
Yeah, Victor Freeze will be the one who's sick. That she's trying to hit you. It's like, oh no, what are you doing? There's no need for that. Just stick to the canon. Catwoman is not in this movie, apparently. I guess she decided to, kick rocks and maybe she'll come back in part 3. I don't know. But are you excited for The Batman Part 2?
No, I didn't like The Batman. I mean, I liked it, but it was boring. But it was also just a rehash of Christopher Nolan's Batman. It was like, let's put Batman and make him kind of real. It's like
I liked it. I liked the Batman. I thought it was cool, but cool. I see what you mean though. That you thought it was slow because it was much more slow paced,
slow burn. It was. I'm sorry, dude. I fell asleep during the movie. It did. It took a lot of what Chris Nolan had already done in his Dark Knight trilogy, and it was like, we're just gonna redo it. So the only thing I'm interested in on this one here is what is he gonna do now? Because he doesn't. He can't go back and steal more from Chris Nolan. So what is he gonna do going forward?
Right, but still, I mean, at least in Christopher Nolan's Batman universe, you had a beginning and you had an end. Yeah, like you saw how he became Batman, where he got all the tech from his own company and all that.
Better narrative, yeah, you're right.
And to me, I know like you weren't a huge fan of the Tumblr because that's not a real Batmobile. He didn't build it himself. I thought it was cool because I mean, like, are we really gonna see him build a fucking Batmobile like from scratch? Like, come on, that's gonna take forever. I like how he had access to all these R&D, vehicles and tech. I was like, yeah, that's fucking cool. He's rich as fuck. That makes sense.
Yeah,
and it fast tracked the movie in terms of like, hey, we don't gotta spend a lot of time of him like,
sure.
What kind of suspension should we put on this car? In the Batman, it's just a muscle car. I don't care what anybody says. Like, no, it's a Batmobile. It's a muscle car.
Fast and Furious car. Yeah,
it's just a muscle car that's got a what do you call it? A turbine behind it, a jet turbine. At least with the Tumbler, it was a tactical vehicle created for the military. So you're like, okay, so it has weapons, it has capabilities, and it's armored. So that makes sense. This one was just a muscle car. And in fact, after like one interaction with someone shooting at it, it'd probably have damage to the point where you're like, fuck, I got to fix this shit.
Well, I mean, even though I wasn't a huge fan of the Tumbler, I liked the Tumbler concept. I thought it was pretty cool and inventive. I prefer Ben Affleck's Batmobile better.
Oh,
thing I don't like about Ben Affleck's Batmobile is the canopy when it opens up or how it opens for Batman to get in and out of it. I don't like that because it seems so flimsy. It seemed as flimsy as the Joel Schumacher Batmobile where it had a dorsal fin. So, because it just kind of wobbles and it's like, that doesn't look very.
You're talking about the doors that open above him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very, very.
If he's in a tunnel. A low tunnel, he couldn't open his door. Like,
no!
Damn it!
It should have like opened up, opened up like that. You could do that if you didn't want to do the whole, Michael Keaton sliding forward Batmobile cockpit. It could have done that. The way it opened up, it was just so wobbly and flimsy. It just kind of, it's like, no, dude, that doesn't look stable. Okay, anyway,
so. The Batman Part 2 is set to come out, I don't know, like sometime next year or whatever. I think so. I think it's next year it comes out. Yeah, I think they're filming it this year. I don't fucking know. I'd have to look it up. But regardless, I'm excited for it. I want to see it. I like the first one. And we'll see how it turns out. Matt Reeves.
I was not a fan of the Joker.
I didn't like that Joker either. He sucked.
Wise guy.
Oh, you're a wise guy.
The Joker from Jersey.
I'm Jersey. I know, right? All right, let's move on to the next topic. Oh, here we go. This comes courtesy of Screen Rant. The Mandalorian and Grogu is expected to illustrate how the New Republic becomes destabilized to the point of collapse in The Force Awakens, as well as the rise of the First Order from the remnants of the old Empire.
Yawn.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't. You know why? Because you could talk about the New Republic becoming destabilized, but then you destroyed the planets they were on in one fell swoop, which was like, what? And so it's like, okay, they're not located anywhere else. Like once you did that, they're like, oh, we're done. We're out. It's just stupid. It's dumb.
White flag, please.
The fact that they even put that in the story that Starkiller Base and they shot all three planets and destroyed the New Republic, it was kind of like, what was the point of that? Mm-hmm. Everything that Luke, Leia, and Han and Lando worked to build, you just fucking tore it all down so that you could give your new characters something to build towards. Mm-hmm. It's just like, man, how selfish can you be? Right away, you knew they were like, hey, we're going to shit on Luke Skywalker. And because at the end of the day, when this thing is over, this trilogy ends, we want Rey to be the new Jedi Master. We want her to be the Luke Skywalker of this generation. But guess what? You haven't even gone back to it yet. You had a shitty Rise of Skywalker movie, and then what? Nothing.
Yeah.
You've gone back in time because you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. They should have just kept going with the story. The problem is that just like Justice League, it was so fucking bad that they just basically tried to reboot everything. Let's just focus on that in between time so we can kind of rebuild ourselves here.
Yeah.
Because they fucked up that hard. It's so obvious.
They did. They destroyed the universe going forward. That's why they haven't gone into the future of Star Wars, because they're just like, if it had been, I tell you this, dude, if their sequel trilogy had been embraced by the fans and it had been something just like a knockout of the park, dude, like a home run, bro, we would already have episode 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
You know, we would have already, they would have kept going. They would have been like, oh, let's do a spinoff. Let's bring back, let's do a race trilogy. Let's do a Finn trilogy. You know, let's do all kinds of crap.
I'm telling you, instead of doing instead of doing the movie Solo, which was like nobody asked for that, instead of doing Solo, they should have just done Boba Fett movie. That would have been way cooler. And then, but of course, they were already probably making the Mandalorians. They're like, well, we already took a lot of concepts from that script. But you see what I'm saying, though? Regardless, if they just done a Boba Fett movie, that would have been cool.
Oh, dude, people would have gone in droves to see.
Yeah.
It. You know, but no, and they already had it, dude. They had another they had a video game based with, I think Boba Fett was called like
Maul Shadow Lord
1313 or something like that. I forget. It was a really cool game, but they kind of dropped that too. You know, there's a lot of stuff that went into production that didn't make it through. But yeah, you know, they even had a Yoda movie planned.
Yeah,
and they took that out.
I mean, look. The people out there that were like, dude, the sequel trilogy, I really love it. I think it's some of the best Star Wars. If that's what you think, which, hey, that's fine. If you like it, that's great. But in my opinion, if you think that is great, those are great movies, then you don't know good storytelling. You don't know good writing. You don't know anything. Because the writing, acting, and storytelling in those movies were fucking terrible.
Yeah.
The only part that was good was the beginning. And even that had some problems. But the beginning of The Force Awakens, at least you could tell it had a little bit of structure and then it just died as it went on. Like,
it kind of fell apart as the movie was going. And then the universe just fell apart because of the direction that it took.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, number one, a lot of the narrative, which is BS, but a lot of the narrative is that, you know, it's a small group of people that don't like whatever, right? And if it's a small group, if it's a small, loud group, that would be silenced by them going forward with, doing going beyond the Rise of Skywalker.
Absolutely.
Because the small community wouldn't help, but the larger community that loves that shit would, and they would go in droves and they would go watch it and they would win out the fandom. But that's not what happened. And the reason, or how you know this, is that the decisions that Kathleen Kennedy and her group took in hiding in the prequel and original trilogy eras, they hid in those. And they haven't come back. They tried to put something out there with like the Ben Solo thing that you were talking about.
The hunt for Ben Solo.
And that died quickly. Nobody cared. If people had been like, oh my God, I love this. This is great. And they were, oh, go for it. Green light. They're not going to do that shit because they're not going to make the money. They've got to make a profit. They've got to turn a profit. And they can't turn a profit. They won't put it in production. The only reason why the Mandalorian Grogu project went forward is because seasons 1 and 2 were great. Season 3 kind of fell apart, and they were like, well, we've already started this train. We're making the movie. We can't stop that now. So now that's coming out, and they're just sort of like, please don't not go.
Don't go.
So
Ray.
Yeah,
it's just it's a big fucking mess.
And another thing that they're doing, and this will segue into our next bit, but they went back into the prequel original trilogy era with Maul.
Well, yeah, and then at one of those Star Wars conventions or D23, whatever the fuck, they try to be like, okay, these are Kathleen Kennedy's like, these are the 3 or 4 logos for the different time eras of Star Wars. I'm like, I'm supposed to fucking remember that shit? I don't give a fuck. And they're like, yeah, because they're like, this is the TV show The Acolyte that takes place in the early stages of the Star Wars timelines.
As you can see, it's color coded in orange.
We're gonna be jumping around all through the timeline, giving you stories. Just give me a fucking Star Wars movie. Why are you trying to give me all these fucking Star Wars stories I don't care about? Just give me episode 10. Figure it out. figure it out.
I agree. Let's give him a Ryan Gosling movie. That'll
Yeah,
hold him over.
that doesn't connect to anybody, and none of the main characters will be in this movie. Even if they said that Rey Skywalker is going to be in the movie, I might be like, hey, I want to. Maybe I'll go see this. Now I'm like, okay, so it's just going to be like an Andor series where maybe let's say it's good and it's cool. Like, all right, cool, but this now I don't. It doesn't relate to really anything else. So that's
We're coming
cool.
in with a Skeleton Crew 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh my god!
No, Jude Law's he's already signed.
Jude Law.
Does he look like a bitch?
So, look, it's Star Wars is Star Wars, but they are releasing a new series called Maul Shadow Lord on the PS5. I'm sorry, it's on Disney Plus. It sounds like a video game to me. I can't get over it. Okay, so let's take a look at the trailer for Maul Shadow Lord.
Roll the clip.
No sound. I did it again. Here we go.
Our target is a syndicate leader. He is associated with several criminal organizations. And proficient with a laser sword.
I am a Hispanic man who works for the New Republic.
It's Cat.
The Empire tried to kill me. Their betrayal demands consequence. And that consequence requires a weapon. Together, we can destroy the Empire.
I think they're trying to make
He wants to fight as allies.
The Empire may be our common enemy, but Maul will never be our ally.
We need to find him. Whatever it takes.
This is escalating out of our hands. The Empire will want answers.
The Empire will lock this planet down.
Jedi, where is Maul? I'm right here. Let us have our revenge.
We're not gonna take out the whole Empire.
They're like, Duel of the Fates means Darth Maul.
Right now, doesn't it?
You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, I kept playing.
I was like, who is that? Especially
You know what I mean, though? They're like, Duel of Fates, that's Darth Maul. But I mean,
it's pulling the heartstrings, man.
Yeah, they're trying. They're trying real hard. So what did you think of Maul Shadow Lord trailer?
Yeah. No, I dig it. I have to say, I dug it. I thought it was cool. It was action packed. It looks nice. There's nothing that I can really, kind of pick it apart right now. Like you can with a lot of the other things that we've seen. I'm not picking this apart, man. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm down. Let's go. I think that what they're doing with that Twi'lek is I think they're, because this is kind of what they do. They take things that haven't been used and kind of, retool them. I think they're going to make her like sort of a Dark Talon to where she's, because she was Dark Talon was supposed to be.
Oh, she's totally going to be Dark Talon.
Yeah.
Or Darth Talon. I mean,
Darth Talon.
Yeah.
And she's because they were going to use her and Maul in the sequel trilogy, but they were like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. So let's just put him in this thing, and he can have his own little apprentice or whatever. And I'm interested, man. It looks cool. I like what they did in the Clone Wars with Maul and all that. So I just wasn't a huge fan of his brother Savage. They call him Savage.
Savage.
Spell it Savage.
No, that's Dawson's comic. But shout out to Dawson Weidrich.
Yeah, Dawson.
Weidrich.
What's up, bro?
However you say his last name. But No, I thought it looked really cool. Again, but still, it feels like this probably should have came out right after their Solo movie came out. Then it would have been like, oh, cool. This is how we got to that point where we saw him at the end of Solo. Awesome. Instead, they're like, look, there's Darth Maul at the end of Solo. Nice. Are we ever gonna get back to that? No, we're gonna just forget about it because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. You know, it was like.
Well, I think Ray Park kind of messed that up in his personal life.
I know, but still, I mean, you could have recast. Why is everyone just like, we can't slow down? Oh, we can't stop. We gotta slow down first.
I don't know. Maybe I should have put Chadwick Boseman as Maul.
Oh God, you got to bring that up.
Well, that's the whole thing, dude. Is like you have.
May he rest in peace first. Okay, go ahead now.
You have a comic book character that can be recast by other talented actors.
I know. They're like,
you know, I would love to see more, T'Challa movies and situations and things like that. I don't care about his son. I'm sorry, I'm boring you.
Sorry.
And that's all I have to say about that.
All right. No, I think it looks cool. Definitely looks like a Darth Talon is being created because I want to say that she had that. She was the same species, Twi'lek, as she is in this show. So it looks like, again, they're taking from George Lucas's original concept and say, okay, well, maybe we should do that instead. Because I bet you they're going to do this. If this show is a hit, then they're probably going to do the whole, they're going to do the Mandalorian movie. They're going to do the Ahsoka movie, whatever the fuck they want to call it. And it's going to be like what do you call it? Rise of the Heir of the Empire kind of thing. But the problem is that if you're going to do that, you still got to have Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia. But they're not.
They're going to pretend it's going to be on another side of the universe while all the Luke and Leia stuff is going on over here.
Yeah, they're going to find a way to get around it.
Going on over here.
And then I think that coming out of that, they may try and do Darth Maul and Darth Talon as the main villains in either another movie that comes after the Heir of the Empire type movie they're working on, or these are going to be the villains of the next set of movies that comes after Episode 9, which I guess they're not going to be calling it Episode 10 anymore, but like these are going to be the next like Sith type villains in the later movies. But it's kind of like, well, what the fuck were they doing this entire time? They're just running around. Like,
well, they can't go to Exegol.
Yeah. And that's why, look, like, I know they want to do their own thing. I know they didn't want to pay George any more money or whatever, but at least in George's original treatments, it was the main villain was Darth Maul and he had Darth Talon. You could have easily have gone with that instead of whatever the fuck they decided to go with. Mm-hmm. And they could have had, like you were saying, the brother or even Darth Plagueis being the one that is like giving him more ability, keeping him alive, and and that would have been cool. Instead, we got like Snoke and we got Kylo Ren and a bunch of fucking dumb shit. I would have loved to have seen the twins, Jason and Jenna.
Yeah.
And being Han and Leia's kids, and they're the ones who are. Imagine on the crawl, saying how they have been dispatched by the New Republic to find Luke Skywalker and bring him to safety as assassins have been out searching for him. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh, cool. And right off the bat, they're in. They're looking for Luke. Maybe they're in Coruscant or another city type planet where they have to run into some assassins. They got to fight them. It could have been really cool, but instead they went with a stupid route. Now let's go to this real quick because this has to do with the show Maul. Mm-hmm. Episode 8 of Maul, Shadow Lord, is titled "The Creeping Fear." This was the rumored working title for Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, so
they're saying that
reused,
Yeah, and so what they're saying is that this could be an episode where Darth Vader appears in the episode, or I'm sorry, like Anakin Skywalker's ghost or something that has to do with Darth Vader shows up. Because like, when does this show take place? Have they said?
No, I'm sure that it takes place after Rebels.
Let me find out.
Yeah, I
when
don't
does?
Because he looks young-ish, I guess. And there's lightsabers and shit going on. So I don't know, man. I don't know. You know what's so funny to me, dude, is how the Jedi were all wiped out, but then all of
Okay,
a sudden,
so
Jedi
not,
are
not to interrupt
everywhere.
you, but this takes place in the early days of the Imperial era. So it looks like the girl who's probably going to become Darth Talon, she is
This
a
is
displaced
before A New
Jedi.
Hope.
Yeah, she's a displaced Jedi, and that he's going to recruit her to be his apprentice.
There you go. Darth
So
Talon.
it's before A New Hope. So it would have made sense if these were the villains in in the sequel trilogy, and they didn't do it. So Darth Maul's gonna be like, "Oh, I've been waiting all
No,
this time."
they will do it. They're going to reboot the. They're going to remake 7, 8, and 9.
Y'all
and
go,
they're gonna do it right.
okay, Mike Zero.
Well, they're going
Zero.
to use AI.
Oh God. All right, I'm done. I'm done with that. All right, let's move on to our main topic of the day, which is Zack Snyder's Justice League 5th year anniversary. Now, both of us were very much involved with the release of Snyder Cut campaign. Obviously, we have the shirts. I have a ton of merchandise. We're
football.
Yeah, the football. We were big parts of the whole streaming campaign to help promote the release of the Snyder Cut. And 5 years ago, it came to fruition. We finally got to see the Snyder Cut in its full glory. Now, obviously, look, Zack decided to do a 4-hour cut because he's like, look, you guys worked so hard on this. I'm just going to give you everything I got on this movie and give you everything I shot. Obviously, if this were to come out in theaters, it could be cut down to a 3-hour movie, I believe, or even a 3.5-hour movie because Avengers Doomsday is 3.5 hours. So it's not like people can't sit in the theater for 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And back then, when it came out, they were all worried about, well, it can't be over 2 hours because no one's going to want to watch it again. And nowadays, it's a little different.
Yeah.
People like long form because they want more character development because they're used to streaming. They're used to TV shows. Back then when it came out in 2015, people weren't completely accustomed to watching everything on streaming.
Yeah.
A lot of people had cable television. A lot of people, it was a different era. So it came out and really it was a phenomenal movie. I absolutely love that movie. I think I regard it as like one of the best superhero movies that's out there. But Ryan, what are your thoughts when it comes to the Snyder Cut and how the build up to its release and the kind of the impact that it had on your own life?
Okay. Yeah. No. I look back on it with fond memories. It was just one of those things where you built a lot of camaraderie with people online.
Yeah.
I remember we used to stream.
We wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for.
That's correct. That's correct. I never would have gone to California if it wasn't for Andre, which is true. I still haven't been back. But yeah, I mean, and it was very nice, very nice. I went to Sacramento, really beautiful weather.
Sacramento.
When the governor was there. It's fond memories. You get on, you have fun with people. We interviewed people that were either actors or production crew or stunt people. Even Richard Citrone, who played Batman in the movie. So it was really cool to sort of interact with a lot of people. And if it wasn't
Ray Porter,
Ray Fisher, if it wasn't
Ray
for
Park. Oh wait, no, never mind.
Park, no. If it wasn't for COVID, I don't think a lot of this stuff would have, transpired either because, a lot of people were just, still trying to, connect and communicate with people, even though they were on some sort of lockdown for no reason. But yeah, I mean, I think that, it really did, sort of open up the capability of realizing it as a complete film, right? Because, everybody sort of, before that, we're like, you got your director's cuts and all that kind of stuff. And, the directors do have that right to have a director's cut if it's in their contract. But, the overall thought was that, okay, well, what you can do is you just take the movie, the theatrical release, and you just make a longer cut of that, using, those assets. But what Zack did was, different and, very cool is that he, not only did he go back, he just recut the movie the way that made sense to him. Like Andre was saying, he used a lot of his unused footage. Sure, there's a lot of stuff that wasn't used, and I think that that's because it like promised, more, beyond, and like Batman going and checking the cocoons and all that, underneath the city of Gotham.
Well, they never shot the scene. That was the only thing.
Well, they
about
shot
that.
some things in it.
There
was the Ben Affleck, I don't know. There was a lot of stuff that he didn't get to shoot.
Yeah.
And that would have, happened during the reshoots process. I'm sure, they would have gone back and said, hey, you know what, can we add this? Can we not? Whatever. Does it make sense? Does it not? But the thing that I really appreciated out of it was that, we got to see a film. We got to see the director's version of that film, which was head over heels better than what was released in theaters after he, stepped away from the project or was, taken away from the project. However you want to see that. He was no longer on the project, and then they released a Justice League movie in theaters. Again, same thing. Nobody liked it. You do have people who did like it, like, oh, this is great. And we're going to, they'll do streams about it and talk about how great it was. And then, there was, rumblings about, oh, there's a different version. There were so many people out there that were, YouTube, community commentators, whatever you want to call them. And they were like, yeah, no, there's no cut. There's nothing. He has nothing.
The cut doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. All that kind of stuff. And you just had all these people that were just sort of, acting like they knew something, like Hollywood insiders and crap like that, some of which are still around, but it showed or proved that they were full of shit. And it's like, no, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. You're actually an idiot. And no one really should be paying you any mind or taking any heed. So yeah, when it was announced, it was a huge validation for everybody that had, streamed about it or, tweeted about it or, like spent a whole bunch of time on, back then we didn't have AI. So we made images and we made videos and we made animations like Project Justice League, which you can find on our channels. That is, still there. And in that Project Justice League, we have a lot of actors and we have a lot of people that were involved in the actual movie in that, in that project, lending their voices and things like that. And I drew a lot of that. 90 some odd % of that was from me. So yeah, and directed by Andre Fernandez, God rest his soul. But yeah, I mean,
whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know. That guy disappeared. I think he went into sports. But it was a great time. It was a good time to be a fan. There were still so many people out there that, didn't like it and didn't want to have anything to do with it. And just so upset. They're like, no, like, Andre was saying earlier, they want saturated. They want, less violent. And the thing that I really appreciated about, there were some liberties that Zack took that, I didn't agree with, but overall, I liked that it had a different tone. I liked that it was, more mature. And that's, not mature in like, they just, gratuitously, have sex or they drop a lot of cussing for no reason or whatever, not that kind of stuff, not the James Gunn edgy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, just, it was more mature and it was more sophisticated. And, it was trying to build something and it was one of those things where it should have been a slow burn. But, the studio was like, no, it can't be a slow burn. So a lot of things were put into these films that, just didn't kind of, marry well and didn't, work out the way, that were possibly intended. So to actually get a 4-hour cut, of the film was fun. It was great to see. It was great to see, this was like, the ultimate cut, right? So you have, Batman versus Superman that has an ultimate edition. And that's, pretty much the one that everybody's like, yeah, the theatrical version cuts out a lot and doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the narrative. But again, you have that studio mandate that says, hey, it needs to be a shorter version so they can, turn butts, in seats and make it profitable for the studio as well as the theater. But yeah, I mean, you could have definitely sold, this is and had intermission and things like that. And I think that, if you'd put these things out, yeah, some people would be turned away by a longer form movie, but a lot of the fans, a lot of the people that are sort of like, really into this kind of thing, would have loved it and would have returned and said, hey, you know what, this is an epic, and this is sort of a Lord of the Rings for, superheroes, right? And that's sort of how it was, being constructed, and that's what I like about, that's what I like about it the most, is that it wasn't just sort of a fast food type, treatment. It was treated as a cuisine, and that's, completely different, so that you could digest a lot of things, for the from the film. And yeah, I mean, so looking back on that, yeah, 5 years from ago was great. And we had so much fun after that, and look at where we are today. Time keeps moving, things keep changing, and but we still have that, and everybody has that has bought a copy. You can always watch it. He released the black and white version as well, and it was just it was fun. Like, Andre got to go to this IMAX screening, and that he can't quit raving about, and he has to, like, really, hey, look at me,
I went to the IMAX screening. Oh my God, it was so good. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what are your thoughts of the, not only, just this being released 5 years ago, but also the lead up to it. And, you starting off as just, some dude that had a weird Batman icon, and you just sort of like, it's kind of snuck in there and was like, hey, yo, I'm a fan too. So
yeah, totally. Good segue. No, yeah, I mean, at the time, I was actually dealing with a lot of personal issues, and so I would say that coming out of that and into diving into the restore the Snyderverse. I should say release the Snyder Cut fandom. It really helped me in terms of like getting back to myself, and it also helped me in becoming a content creator. I mean, if I hadn't have jumped into this, I wouldn't have started a YouTube channel. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met Dawson. I wouldn't have met everyone that we know, Anthony, all those guys, your son Matt. But instead, I decided, what, growing up, I'd always wanted to be. There was a time, I should say, where I wanted to be in radio. But it doesn't really pay that well, and I didn't really further pursue it. But after coming out of a very, very dark time in my life where a lot of things were changing, and I went through just a lot of shit, and I realized that, hey, look, this is the opportunity for me to finally start to kind of show, well, and just to kind of show my some type of like artistic ability. I mean, I'm not a good drawer or anything, but I feel like I can be really, really good at this, at entertaining, at talking, and having a good time. So I decided to start a YouTube channel, and it's funny, the first episode I ever did, as much as we talk shit, Sil Abdul was in the chat randomly, and that's where I met him on my first stream, and so it kind of went from there. I'm sure when he was watching is what he was saying.
This is bullshit.
But so, and everything kind of stemmed from there. We met Tyler from Subjective Reviews, who's doing his own thing now. I met all of you guys, Zod Rider. This is in the early days when and everyone just streamed everybody. I got a chance to talk with what's his name, Chris Wong.
Yeah.
I got to meet Dave Pena, and then all the guys from Real Anarchy, all those guys who had all these, these at the time bigger channels than me, and it was just fun to kind of do all that. And obviously, as much as we talk shit, like Matt Miranda and Taylor, all those guys, and then it just dawned on me one day where I was like, hey, you know what? Because they had announced that whole Justice Con event, and I said, you know what? What if we covered that like a 24-hour news station? And we made that like all these channels are covering it. And so I put together Crisis on Infinite Streams, and I brought together all these channels, and a lot of channels who fucking hated each other, Fatal J, all those guys. I brought them all together, and I put them together in a schedule and had all these channels streaming. And then like the next time we did it, I even went international, and I got, shows from England, shows from Spain, shows from South America. I even tried to get shows that were in like Japan, but I couldn't find any of them. It was too hard. But I got a bunch of shows together, and it was really cool. And I even got the Geek House podcast, which is from the Middle East, and they did their show. And then Zach, ended up hopping on a bunch of those streams to say hi to those different podcasts that were in different countries, which was really, really cool. And so there was a lot that went into it. And those things aren't just like, oh, I put it together in like 15 minutes. No, it took me like weeks and weeks of planning to get all this coordination, artwork done, a countdown website, all of this stuff. And at the end of the day, what were we doing it for? We were doing it to raise money for AFSP. We're doing it to bring the fandom together because it was something that everyone was a part of. This entire fandom was all doing this for one cause. That was to raise money for AFSP and also to get the awareness in the movie out there, which was the Snyder Cut. Because it had become so much more than just a movie. It had become a movement. It had become, not only are we letting our voices be heard to get this movie released in the form of artistic integrity, right? But we're also raising money for suicide prevention to like actually save lives and make a difference in someone else's life. And that's huge. And we did that. And so that was pretty amazing. We raised a ton of money for AFSP on, I think we did 3 different events. And then we did Project Justice League. And that one, obviously, look, Project Justice League had its ups and downs. It went to a point where it was going to be shut down. And then Ryan and I came together, and Ryan's like, hey, I'll tell you what, man, I'll just do the art. You do everything else. Let's just fucking do it. And we did it. And we put it together, and it's pretty cool. And I think, one day.
That right there is so funny, though. I forgot about that, to be honest. I forgot that so many people had tried to shut down Project Justice League. You were so distraught. And I was like, bro, who cares? Don't listen to them. Don't listen to the haters. Like you said, I'll draw it. You just coordinate the special effects, the voices, all that stuff. And we're just going to do it, and we're going to release it. And, because it was somebody else's, you were sort of tied in with, this other group or whatever. And their reputation was, I guess in jeopardy or just in question. And I was like, man, hey, even though they, came in and they were, sort of a plight on your, what you were trying to do. I said, let's just segue. Let's just make it without them. You have all the assets you need. And, I mean, that's awesome. We had this released and I was sort of getting my my drawing, my artistic chops back in full swing before I started my, comic book venture or whatever. But yeah, I mean, so you can definitely tell some of the stuff I'd redo, completely, but I'm super happy with that being released, and you wanted to add a whole lot more, but I was like, man, let's just work on getting this completed and released. And we did. And no one can take that away from us. It's out there. It's in the ether. Somebody tried to take it off of the internet, but we put it right back up. It was originally on the Four Nerds Network. Dawson rebranded the channel and then decided to take down the stream or the video because it was a part of it, but it wasn't. It didn't have any.
It was like at 350,000 views or something more than that.
It was huge.
Yeah, and so we decided to put it on his channel and my channel. I think you have a bunch of views on it. You have like 22,000
bunch of views on mine. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. Because I just in trying to build the comic book brand, I was like, yo, I need to show off that I did this.
Yeah, and Ryan did all the art. He drew all the images that you've seen. Not this one, obviously, but all the ones that. One. No, this one's cool. But you did actually help with this one because you did the helmet on Wonder Woman.
Oh, that one. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was looking for the
Nico Bramza is the one who did this image, but he couldn't get the helmet over Gal's head. He was having a very hard time. So Ryan was like, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And Ryan put the helmet on the head, and then it was complete. And I really like how this turned out because I decided to go with this look for Project Justice League because I wanted the everyday viewer to be like, hey, look, this looks like Justice League Part 2. I want to go check it out. Yeah. And we made it the ultimate cut, we could have made it Justice League Part 1, Justice League Part 2, because I actually originally had cut it for 2 separate short movies. Right. It had an ending and it had a beginning, and then I had to blend them together, which it took away from some of the way. I will say this: blending them together in the Ultimate Cut, it did take away from some of them, because I loved the way the first one ended and rolled the credits in a very just a very dramatic way. Then I had to kind of adjust that, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's out there. It's maybe one day I'll go back and redo it again, because there's some editing that I could have done a better job with. But back then I was brand new at it, so I did the best that I could. Now there's better software, better apps you can use for all that. But one of the things that that you learn just by doing this kind of thing is that when you look at the story, I mean, the overall story of it is that Zack put this out there because more than likely we were never going to get a Justice League Part 2. And so they said, hey, look, he said, I'll put this out there, and this will be the closest thing you're going to get to a Justice League Part 2, since they're probably not going to announce me getting that. And so you got to see the general story of what would have happened. Now, obviously, Bruce, which I don't think it's that weird, but they would have changed all that. But you still get to see the progression of the story, the progression of Superman, and then the eventual war with Darkseid. That ends with the world coming together to the fight Darkseid and his army, and the Justice League defeating Darkseid. And then it was only later on that in an interview that Zack revealed that that Lex Luthor was the one that ultimately ignites a nuclear bomb up on his ship and it destroys him. Which I don't know how a nuke would kill him, but whatever. At that point. But still, it was really cool, and so we decided to add that part. So at the end of the movie, towards the end, we added the part where Lex kills Darkseid with the nuclear bomb. So that's in the final battle. And look, obviously, there's some things we couldn't add. We had people telling me, "Oh, you should add the Joker. You should add the scene where the Last Supper, where they're talking, and Joker talks about how he killed." And I'm like, look, I don't know the dialogue for that. There is nothing written for that that's available, so I'm not going to take liberties and start creating dialogue, extensive dialogue for a scene that I don't know what they would have said. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Right. Now, anything where we had to take extreme liberties, we just didn't have it in there. The only thing that we did do that a lot of people, still, I guess, get upset with or don't like is, the sun at the end. So
yeah. They didn't like that. They're, I don't like how it's the sun. I mean, it's kind of like, bro, it's not canon. Just look at the story, and these are a lot of the animations. And Vega over on Instagram, he did a lot of the effects on these shots. And Ryan, this is all his artwork. We had Mariano do the coloring, and I want to say, Ryan, you colored a lot of these yourself as well.
I did. Because he was, he's over in I guess Venezuela, and so he colored what he could, and there was a lot of stuff that I didn't really want to wait for him, or he colored and I had to recolor it. But he did a good job with doing what he did here. So he took what I did and this was one of the greatest shots, but I guess that's not in there, but side, and then you had Superman kind of right in front of him. That was one of our kind of key shots that we really wanted to sort of showcase. But even this project here, it took us a while. But and it was a labor of love, so I didn't care how long it took us to make. I still stand by it, even though like I said, 90% of the things that I drew, I could do a way better job now. But it served its purpose. It did what it had to do for the time that we made it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was trying to pull up this other. I did a countdown teasers, building up to the actual release, and as it turns out, we were finally able to get it done, and it released on Christmas Day. So I mean, it's the best we could do. And look, could we have gone longer? Probably. And I know we had a friend of ours who was like, "Oh, I don't really like it. I feel like you should have had more visuals." And it was kind of like, dude, this is it. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the best we could do.
Yeah. I mean, we had at the end of the day, dude, if you wanted it,
That was a great shot right there. I like that one.
We could have done a lot better, as far as like, making more visuals and putting more things in there. But it's like, bro, it's never going to release.
Yeah, it would have taken us longer. And by the time we were done with it, it would have been like, oh, that thing? This shot right here, I really liked. I like the effects he put on it. And so, I even elected that, people were like, oh, yeah, I had a guy who was like, I can make all new music for it. And I was like, no, you know what? I was like, I want to use the music from the movie because that's what's going to resonate the most. That's what's going to bring it all back home. So that's what we did. And
for our project, our dark side is the actual dark side.
Our dark side is actually Ray Porter. I'll say it now because it doesn't matter. And in fact, originally, I mean, we had a narrator come in and do a fantastic job.
Oh, yes, he did.
Absolutely fantastic job.
Geraldo.
Yeah. Geraldo Cortez came in and he delivered a fire narration. And he actually gave me a choice to do it with his natural accent, which is kind of a Kiwi accent, or an American accent. And we chose American accent just because it's an American movie, whatever.
But as we went to the,
well, no, his is more elegant than that. But what's crazy is that before all that, we actually had Ray Porter narrate the entire thing. Mm-hmm. But due to legal issues,
we thought it'd be really cool to have Darkseid narrate this movie.
Yes, and it sounds amazing too. I have it somewhere around here, but it sounds amazing with Ray Porter's narration. But after talking with Ray Porter, he kind of felt like, hey, due to legal issues, we probably shouldn't have my voice in there because who knows? And then if they decide to move forward with this, could this be something that would be an issue? So we decided to pull his narration out and replace it with Geraldo's, who did a fantastic job. I got to personally thank him at Full Circle at the event. I saw him there. But at one point, when I was editing the project, it had Ray Porter's narration, and it was pretty badass. And I think, if it would have came out and we would have advertised Ray Porter is the narrator for this, I think it would have helped it get even bigger.
Yeah. No,
because it would have had that star power, But like I said, Geraldo did a fantastic job. I don't want to take anything away from his work.
If we ever do another one, we will definitely just use Ray's voice for the whole thing. Just to give you a different experience.
Maybe what we'll do is maybe one day we'll go back and we'll AI all the shots.
Everything, yeah.
Then we'll use Ray's voice over it too. Who knows? But that was Project Justice League. Really, really cool. Definitely check that out. It's on my channel. It's on Ryan's channel. But overall, Ryan Zivafet. But that's the other thing I wanted to share too. So, where is it? So Zach did like a little countdown. So leading up to his post today, which was post number 214, of course, he timed all that. You had this guy here. You had this one, which is all these beautiful shots, and he was saying how each character had a shot from a similar angle, and it was each member of Justice League facing the burden of responsibility with honor. That's what each one of these shots kind of represent. And so we started doing a countdown where he says, 3 days, he released this picture here, 2 days, he released this picture here, and then this one where the day before goes, I consider it one of the greatest honors of my life to have had the privilege of working with these mythic heroes: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, The Flash, Cyborg, a modern pantheon. And I think that's what I liked about his trilogy, is that he treated them like they were these mythical beings. While and the newer incarnations, they're not so mythical. They're just sort of like, I don't know what you would call them. And then of course there's this one here today. I can't really show this one. I gotta stop it. He dropped the original Hallelujah trailer, so I watched that this morning. But that was his post for today for the anniversary of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, some fans were saying he's counting down, something's going to happen, it's going to get restored, and we're back, all this shit. And unless I haven't seen it, which I haven't, nothing happened other than the fact that he's just celebrating.
Yeah, look, Zack Snyder sneezes and everybody's like, it's coming out, we're going back. It's like, okay. cool that you guys want to get, enthusiastic, but you have to remember this film here was shot 10 years ago. And that's, the actors have aged. Look at Jeremy Irons now. It's like, you can't, go back and say, hey, you know what, let's get, look at what they did with, older actors coming back and reprising, different roles and stuff like that. It just, sometimes it just doesn't really work. And like, Andre, mentioned earlier, it's like, a lot of these actors are, they're higher paid actors now. They're not going to take a pay cut,
They're not.
No, they're like, well, I'll do it for Zach. And I'm like, no,
I'll do it for Zach. We'll do it live.
They're working for their family. So, they're not going to take a pay cut. But yeah, I mean, and what's it going to do when they come back? They make one movie instead of two. It's they would have to make some compromise, and then of course you're going to have a whole bunch of things about like, oh well, he had to compromise because of how long it would take. He'd probably release another 4-hour film, but the 4-hour film would be part 2 and 3 put together. But again, it's the same thing. It's like this is 10 years later. People have aged, people have changed. Where's Ezra Miller now? I mean, that guy's off the face of the earth, so no matter what, dude, if they were to make anything beyond, that'd be great. Cool. But I'm not in the camp that's like, hey, this is happening. So that's just
I think that if they would have released Zack Snyder Justice League in like a 3-hour form, 3.5-hour form, and it hit theaters and they just let Zack do his thing, I think the movie would have been really well received. I think I don't hear a lot of people complaining about this movie, saying like, "Oh, I didn't like that," or "I didn't like this," or "I thought it was stupid." A lot of people like it. They're like, "It was a cool movie."
Well, they had fertile ground when it released. They had momentum. They had, a lot of, they were talking to Henry Cavill, bringing him back and all that, and they were signing him on for more than just Black Adam. But they had fertile ground to do something, and they chose not to. They're like, you know what? Nah, I don't. It doesn't matter how good this is. We're releasing on HBO Max. There was a whole controversy on like, how popular or how not popular it was, how many people streamed it, and
it was just a shit show. It was such a shit show.
It was just bad. And I was like, okay, look, either you're going to do it or you're not. And they chose not to. I mean, all these actors have gone off and they're doing their own thing. You've got Henry's going to be Highlander. He's going to be doing some other things.
Momoa's going to be Lobo.
He'll be in Voltron. Lobo. He got moved over to Lobo. Ray Fisher hasn't really done anything since. He did like another movie after that, and that was kind of it. Ben Affleck's doing his own thing. He had the whole thing with J-Lo, and that went everywhere. And he did a movie with Rip, which was not bad. And he was in there with
cool.
the
I liked
Green Lantern guy. And nothing's, what was the name? Carr, Wayne Carr. Is that his name? The
Wayne
Green
T.
Lantern?
Carr.
Wayne T. Carr. Oh, Wayne Carr. That's close enough. We haven't really seen much. I mean, he's done some other things, but I don't think anybody's looking to hire him on as the Green Lantern. There you go. Like I said, you've got, Jeremy Irons, who played Alfred, who's, hell old now. And even Diane Lane, she's, gotten older and, I mean, look, it's just, I don't think anything's really going to happen. It was a cool thing. We have 3 films, and just enjoy what you got.
Yeah.
And then watch Project Justice League.
Yeah. And then watch Project Justice League. That's how it ends. So
pretty much.
Check that out for sure. But I think, when you look at it and you say, okay, well, let's imagine in an alternate universe, this thing gets, they say, okay, we're going to make part 2, right?
Okay.
I think logistically, I have a hard time seeing a studio say we're going to make 2 and 3. I think they make a part 2 and then part 2 starts in the nightmare future with the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan crashing down to Earth. And then as he's looking to kind of figure out what's going on, that's when you get kind of a summary of what's been happening on Earth since the last time you were here. And you kind of go
10
from
years
there.
later.
Yeah.
Instead of 5 years later, 10 years later.
Yeah. I mean, like part 2 would have been cool to see, the demise of the Justice League, to see how Lex Luthor, put together his own team, help, bring down the Justice League with the help of Darkseid, and then all of a sudden be betrayed by Darkseid, by Superman killing him under Darkseid's control. That would be really cool to see in all of that. It had a real Empire Strikes Back kind of feel to it. A lot of story was involved in part 2. But I think ultimately you can probably cut all of that out, or just skip over. I shouldn't say cut it all out. Yeah, you could skip over all of that and go right into part 3 where it starts in the Nightmare Future. Start from there, go back in time, save Lois, and then just carry it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it would go. Like,
sure,
the pre-climax would be saving Lois, and then, and then changing the future. I mean, obviously he wouldn't go around and save all the Justice League members. He would save Lois, which then would, make them realize what was going on.
Right. And then what they would do is they would, put him in the future, and then at the end of the film, they would, make the or have the idea to go back and save Lois, and then the trickle theory would happen. Everything would be reset by then. Because like I said, they're 10 years later. They would make a long form film that would make that make sense, and they wouldn't do a lot of de-aging. They might go back and like just do Henry and Ben, to de-age them, because that's Batman, Superman, and
but even then, once you get past him saving Lois, he's back in the cowl, and at least see his face again. So
yeah.
But Henry would be the one. But even so, I mean, like, even if you saw Henry now, like, I don't think anyone would say, we got to de-age him. They just probably be like, who cares? Let's just go. I mean, unless he looked excessively old, or he's like, ugh, I don't think they'd bother de-aging.
I think they would. I think just like they did with Robert Downey Jr. and Kurt Russell and all them. They would de-age, Alfred if he were in the shot. Or
he's already old.
Yeah, but
you're a little too old now.
Yeah.
It's not like it's
when
Michael Caine.
When you get older, same thing with Michael Caine. Oh my God,
now, Michael Caine's in a wheelchair. You can't. I mean, that's a little different. It's like, okay, well, he can't even do it.
But the thing is that if they were to do that, Andre, you have to think that okay, number one, they would have to go into production, pre-production.
No, I know. I understand.
Because they wouldn't be filming until 2027 latest.
Well, yeah, because they have to work out the schedules. They can't be like, hey, we're going to shoot in the summertime. Everybody come down. Like, woo!
Then it's 12 years after they filmed last time.
Yeah.
And it's and anything can happen in 2 more years.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a cool idea to kind of go back and say, hey, whatever. But it's like, bro, you keep going back to the well, and then you still have these, the Hamada verse and the gun verse. It's like, what are we doing? Like, bro, I'm sorry this thing didn't work out. It would have been cool if it did. We would have already had these things on our shelves and already in a different universe and all that, and everybody be on the same page, because it'd be a new, like a brand new day, Spider-Man. It'd be, just a completely different, paradigm as far as like, you have, a new lineup of people portraying the characters. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, that's, look, it'd be cool if it happened, but chances of it happening are low.
I would say slim to none. I know everyone's like, oh, well, he's friends with the Saudis because he's making that movie for them. I don't see it happening. I would love for it to happen. Don't get me wrong, but there's too much involved
Zack
for that.
Isn't quite. I mean, I'm not to sound negative or anything like that, but since Justice League, he hasn't really had a banger film that came out and just like turned heads and blew socks off of people. Like he did the the Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead is that. He did the Army of the Dead, and that was a cool movie, but didn't turn a lot of heads. And then he did his the other movie, Rebel Moon. He did that, and wasn't really well received on Netflix. Same kind of situation where they released a shorter version, and that was inferior. And then like you said, you saw the longer form version, thought it was great, but is it great enough to be on par with what he was doing with Justice League, or to call it the new Star Wars or anything like that? And he's worked on this other movie like The Photograph.
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything about that. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like he's a good director, but he's not really come up with anything else that has just been like, kind of like The Watchmen. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. But still, we'll see what happens. I highly doubt anything will happen. And if it were to be continued in any form or fashion, it'd probably be an animation or I don't know. I just think the logistics of making this movie would be very, very difficult. But if they want to do it, I'm all for it, obviously.
There's a question in the chat to release the Ayer cut. And nobody cares about Will Smith anymore, and he's the one carrying. And the same thing with the girl that played Harley Quinn,
Margot Robbie.
Nobody cares about her very much anymore. I mean, she's in that one movie, Huntington or something, whatever the fuck.
She was just in Barbie. That was a humongous movie like a year ago.
A couple years ago. No, that was a couple years ago. But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Okay. Her aside, dude, nobody gives a shit about.
So
her.
in Ryan's mind, she's not that popular anymore. So
she's not. She's not as hot as she was.
It's Ryan's world. Ryan's world.
Thank you. She's not as hot as she was.
I think that
I don't think they release the Ayer cut ever.
They won't, but I think it'd be cool to get it released. The Ayer cut.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that'd be
I'd
awesome.
love it. I think it'd be great.
And I would,
if they were to release the Ayer cut, I would also say get rid of the fucking Power Ranger. What are those foot soldiers? The tar creatures or whatever the hell.
Oh god, yeah, the ones with all the eyes on their head.
If you're gonna give us an Ayer cut, get that crap
the
out
putties.
of there. The putties, and release them as what do you call them?
Parademons.
Parademons. Thank you.
I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with it, but I mean, whatever movie he shot, I just want to see what that movie was all about. I don't think it's going to be like a Zack Snyder Justice League, but it'd be cool. And then you get to see the whole story kind of, even though obviously you're missing a lot of movies in between. There's also Ben Affleck's Batman movie, which would have been really cool. Then people say, oh, Alfred was going to die in that movie, but I don't think he would have died because I mean, how are you going to move forward and no Alfred? I'm like, what? And not only that, but like in the storyboards with Prior Justice League, Alfred's in the storyboard. So it's like, okay, so obviously he's alive, after
he was talking to Cyborg.
Yeah, and that would have happened after Ben Affleck's Batman movie. So, and then there's that. So before we start to wrap things up, I did want to share something with you guys, a little video that I found. And of course, as we do in almost every episode, this is another AI takeover.
AI takeover.
Okay, so here is an AI, I guess, I don't know, it's Snyderverse sequel movie.
There you go.
Batman's outfit already looks kind of weird. I'm like, what? All right, let's take a look at this little video.
I won't let you near Lois.
Whoa!
Pathetic.
What's happening? More! Oh my god.
Another one? Was this like the final boss?
The final battle, you mean? Yeah, I think so.
No. That one parody. Like, it took him forever to knock him down.
I don't know.
I do like that sort of Street Fighter.
Yeah. Oh my god!
How many of these are there? Did you vet this before you put this up?
They won't stop coming!
More.
That's cool. He was like, you want some more? don't give up.
Cool.
They
I
don't
like
give up.
that. I like that.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's what cuts off.
It's a lot of flash, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I like how Darkseid's vision is all fucked up.
He goes cross-eyed and it comes out. I was like, whoa, holy
How
shit.
did you miss Batman?
And the first time, like, only one eye shoots. It was like, whoa. But again, like, this is not real. It's just kind of cool to see.
It's just funny to watch. It's fun to watch. Who gives a shit, you know?
Who gives a shit?
Money off of this crap.
I know.
So
no, whoever made this isn't like, I'm making it. You know, it's like,
look at me.
He's the best. No, it's just like whatever.
Zack Snyder, eat your heart out.
Yeah, it's like at Warner Brothers.
There you go.
So that's it. That's the show.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Guys, if you want to support the channel, just go down below, click the join button, and become a member of the channel. It's the best way to support the channel. I want to thank everyone who already is a member of the channel. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Zever Comics. Check out zevercomics.com and check out the Nephilim, which is an indie comic that Ryan developed himself. Definitely check that out. It's worth it.
Yes, check it out, please. Let me know what you think. The campaign is already closed on it, so if you did not get your copy, I'm sorry. But yeah, so thank you to everybody who did get a copy, including this guy over here. And yeah, you know, so I'm working on the second book now, and when the first book is available again, grab a copy.
There you go. There you go, guys. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the NerdUp podcast. We'll see you guys next week for an all-new topic, whatever the fuck that's going to be. But we'll see you guys then. Until next time, peace!